I grew up in Orlando, Florida. I am the youngest of four. My mom was a single mom at the time and hard working woman and still is today. She took really good care of us, kept us in church, made sure that we were well fed and kept clothes on our back and a roof over our head. I really do have a good mom. Faith is something that, God has really, taught me. The Bible says that we walk by faith and not by sight. And it is definitely, uh, very hard to do that. But at the same time, you just have to realize that this is something that we are empowered to do by the Spirit of God. And so God began to deal with my heart and took me on a journey of faith. And it all started at the age of 18. Uh, at the age of 18, God spoke to me and said, He wanted me to leave Orlando, Florida, and to go to Texas. And, when He told me that, that's when my faith was really tried. It's one thing to say you have faith, but when God tells you to do something, you know, it's really a test to see if you have faith. So I really, really struggled with that word for me to just leave, my comfort zone, to leave what I'm familiar with, and to go to a place where I have no idea where I'm going. Um, you know, but as I began to seek the Lord, He wanted me to leave Orlando, go to Texas, Dallas in particular, and to go to Bible school. He said that He's sending me there to be trained for ministry. There was a peace in my heart about it. At the same time, I began to look at all of my natural situation. I grew up without a father. For years, I haven't talked to my dad. I've never seen my dad. So that was something that I felt like, this is a disadvantage for me to, go somewhere else or to be in another state with, no support. I feel like the kind of home that I grew up in, it's not success proof. But God had something in mind, and He wanted to show me something. So, went to my pastors. I told my pastors, hey, God spoke to me and said, I was to go to Texas and I was to go to Bible school there. And they embraced it. They prayed for me, and they sent me on my way. So at the end of 2004, I left and was getting ready to, just get things together. I began to sit on my bed and just, think, is this something I'm really supposed to do? Is this something that, God wanted me to do? I remember thinking, will I succeed at this? It was hard. No one in my family has ever done a move like this. No one in my family had if I got in trouble, no one in my family would bail me out. This had to be God. Had to be. It had to be something that if God doesn't do it, then I won't succeed. So, sat down with my mom, talked to my mom some more about some of the decisions that I was making. And, my mom was very supportive, very supportive. And went upstairs, packed my bags. I had, these black dress shoes, only dress shoes that I had. I had clothes, and I saved up $800, which wasn't enough, by the way, because the $800 was going towards the first month of the school bill. But I believed God that I would get a job and that I would prosper, and just like what He said, ended up flying, and I went to Dallas, and I arrived, second week in January. School started, and the people there were so nice. Christ for the Nations, great school, great place of growth and great place of worship, and it's a school that believes in global ministry. So everything that I was going to be taught was based on, going to the nations and, speaking to people around the world. Sounded great, I do believe that God has called me to, speak to nations. So I'm there, I'm all settled in, and I'm going through transition. Transition is something that it's difficult. It's difficult. It's because you've lost, friends, and you're making new ones, and then you're crying, and I mean, transition is hard, but in the end I knew that it was going to work out for my good. So 4 months into the process of going to school, I still haven't found a job. Things were starting to catch up to me. And when I say catch up to me, in the sense that, I was confronted with problems of either staying or leaving Texas and going back home. Like I said, I didn't have a job yet, and the word that God gave me was that He would send me there and prosper. I wasn't seeing that at all. But I stood on what He said. I just kept going. One day I was walking to chapel, and I was walking and I felt something weird on my shoes, and I lifted up my shoes, and they began to have these weird holes in them, and I'm like, what in the world is this? And I remember thinking to myself and crying and saying, now, God, you said that I would go to Texas, and you said that you were sending me there, and you said that I would prosper there, but why are holes, coming out of my shoes? And God spoke to me and said, son, I'm trying to teach you how to have faith in what I have promised you. At that moment, it dawned on me that, wait a minute, these whole 3 months I've been going to the Lord and I've been telling Him about my problems and about, everything that's wrong, instead of going to Him and talking to Him about His word and what He said. So, long short of it is, I began to go to God in prayer and talk to Him about His promises. And I repeated back His promises to Him. And lo and behold, 2-3 weeks later, got a phone call. It was a job. I filled out an application and got the job. I was able to catch up on bills, catch up on things that I was, I needed to pay. And I was like, wow. And I finally bought me some new shoes. um, but you know, that whole process, it taught me, no matter what, trust God. Trust God. You know, God is calling so many people to move and to do what they're supposed to do. And transition, like I said, is hard. Um, and my situation, you know, this was the first encounter of faith that I had with God. And so, and there have been plenty more. But this was the first time. This was the initial journey that said, okay, now you're starting. This is where the beginning is. And from then on, God has just taught me to walk in faith.